Test, test. Yeah, we in the building. You already know what it is. If it ain't messy, it ain't me. Ready to die for every line of Big Papa's Frankenstein. Next to Ken, I ain't lying. Jesus Christ is sick lines. Seasons, greetings, and salutations, man. Seasons, greetings, and salutations. It's the way of the world, man. If it ain't messy, it ain't me, man. You already know what it is, man. It's the one and only old Gemma, man. Appreciate y'all chiming in, tuning in, man. Um, it's been a minute, man. It's been a while. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate the comments on all the reels. Um, I appreciate it all. Um, it's almost a new year, man. It's December. January's coming up. New Year's coming up. New Year's resolutions. Shedding away with the old skin, the old year, the old era, stepping into a new era. You know. But we always have these New Year's resolutions. Or New Year's revelations, right? Where we're supposed to let some old stuff go that's been hurting us, that's been weighing us down, um, and give room for growth into the new era of life that we're stepping into. So we're supposed to be leaving hurt and moving and progressing into healing. Um, and there's an old saying, hurt people hurt people. You know, so we have to. We've heard that around, but we have to think about that and break that down. Hurt people hurt people. You know, um, that's easily digestible. I think. You know, that's very understandable. You know, we gravitate. Um, we gravitate towards certain things or people, certain things with our energy that we give off gravitate towards us. Um, and so when we're hurt, it seems like we may draw people around that may not be hurt per se. I think it's a two-step process. We either pull people that's around that's positive, trying to be a positive influence to us, and we end up hurting them, or we end up drawing more negative people and other hurt people around to flame the fire, and you kind of start this gang, this hurt gang, if you will. You know, the hurt people gang, where you know, some people say they're living their life free with no regard. You know, no regard to anyone. I'm hurt. I'm happy. I just, I feel how I feel, and people are gonna feel me as I am. But we know that could be detrimental. Um, that could be detrimental to a lot of people, not just yourself. I'm doing a lot more reading and whatnot, man. I'm reading a book called The Power of the Other. Do I got my book up here? Hold on, man. Y'all pardon me. We being messy right now. Pardon me. Yeah. Um. Yeah. The Power of the Other. Let me see. Let me get a zoom. I'm doing my first little book review, man. Y'all go ahead. Wow. So that's technology for you. You know what I mean? The Power of the Other. You know what I mean? By Dr. Henry Cloud. It's a dope little book. Um. It's a cool little read. Um. I, I'm uh, I'm learning. I don't know. The past almost 3 years now, I've been on a crazy journey. Um. Of real reflection. And I've been told in my life by some of what I feel the most important people in my life. Um, I have some important women in my life, but I think the women, they have their weight. Everyone has a special place in everyone's heart, but at any rate, the literature I've been reading has first helped myself to get a better grasp and understanding of me, and but also more importantly, it helps me be able to explain and defend myself, if you will. Explain yourself meaning an explanation of how we articulate and share ourselves with others, and defend myself meaning not in the physical form, but being able to articulate your feelings when somebody challenges or opposes or challenges your potential perspectives in life, and the way you view things. So some of your values and goals that you might have that have been based off certain things that you've gone through in life. But the power of the other, basically, it says to cover the startling effect other people have on you, from the bedroom to the bedroom and beyond, and what to do about it. But it says that's a catchphrase, but it crosses planes when we talk about how you affect people. The other as in how we affect other people. You know what I mean? So again, hurt people hurt people. So the power of the other is how your energy vibes off, and vice versa, what people's energy do for you, and the type of people. It has 4 different levels of people, what it calls the 4 corners, and how those different people in your corners that you might have in your quote unquote supportive corner could either help or hurt you at any given time. At any particular small journey or big journey in your life, things you're going through. You got the crowd to, you got call up your party girls, and you got your party guys, and you got the crowd to, where you want to get philosophical, and then you got the crowd that pushes you. You know what I mean? That's really here for you, and the ones that just want to have fun. So, again, staying on track. Again, hurt people, but there's also a flip side to that perspective that I've started to embark on. Healed people help through the hurt. So I think, again, back with the New Year's resolution and stuff, again, we're supposed to be in another 365 days. We're supposed to be shedding off some old skin, shedding off some old hurt, shedding off some old lessons, applying some new lessons learned, and firing up the engine for another 365 days to win, to meet new goals, break old curses. But it seems like we're affected, and I think we're affected because our most time when we're affected is when we're in a disarrayed state of mind. A disarrayed state of mind meaning we're hurt in some kind of capacity, mentally or physically, but definitely most of this will go to our mental capacity. What have you learned from your past failed lessons? I've been engaging people in my life. I've been engaging them as I've been engaging myself, and some of the conversations they sound a little lighthearted and get serious, and some of them start out pretty heavy. Um, Recently, I'll say, you guys might hear me from time to time share stories, about myself and my old lady, myself and my mother, and things like that. Those are probably the two most prominent, well, outside of my daughters, most prominent females in my life. And recently, about 3 weeks ago, me and my mother had a conversation about some childhood things, and basically in the context of the conversation, I had shared some things with her, as far as a video about a nickname she used to call me. I sent that video back to her and then asked her, she used to call me this particular name years and years and years and years ago, 20, 30 some years ago. So something clicked in my head. I revisited that. I revisited those thoughts, asked the question, which turned into us digging back into the past, which basically turned into, a lot of hurt being slung back and forth on the phone, to a certain degree. So at one point in the conversation, I was asked, is this conversation helping? You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, she felt like, as far as my particular tone at that time in the conversation, that I was just targeting her to hurt her intentionally. And it goes back. I tied it into the old saying, hurt people. But I tried to explain to her in that vein, even though I was passionate about what I was explaining as far as my point of view and perspective. Um, I did feel, that God has brought and healed me through certain things in that light. So I was actually a healed person. I felt, healed person, helping a person get through, their particular hurt in the context of conversation. And I say that we do that often in this society, man. We get people, and we get in these mindsets with people that, life, we put on these masks, and 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 actually we kind of suck people into our black little holes, and we give off our energies, and we want people to really sulk with us, and entertaining things that's really distracting us from our day-to-day goals. Okay, when you're hurt, you lose focus, you can't concentrate, you don't make the best decisions, you don't make the best stride and give the best efforts towards your goals when you're distracted. If you're in a marital relationship, or a normal relationship, not being married, there's things that go on a day to day that can derail and distract you. If you have kids and you're raising kids either with a dual parent home or a single parent, there's things on the day to day that can distract you from your goals. And we have many goals because, at life, we want to be selfish, but that's the hard part about when you start having kids. You definitely, you have to break apart your time, and your time breaks apart not only your physical energy, but your mental energy, to where you hear a lot of people say, man, I just feel like I'm lost in this relationship, or I feel like I'm lost in the role of a parent. Like I can't focus. I'm not me. And, they need some kind of reprieve, whether it be having a conversation with somebody just to, get their woes off their chest, or they feel like they need to physically just get away and just, you know, to be able to make it, and sustain themselves, as an adequate parent, or as an adequate wife or husband, or what have you, boyfriend, girlfriend. Um, but those things, those breaks, those breaths, those interpretations get lost depending on if you're in the mind frame, if you're hurt or not. Um, we go through, raising our children, and on our best days, we try to raise them better than we were raised before, you know, and but if you haven't really healed for some things in your past, you're still kind of raising your children, in a hurt capacity, if you will. Um, but before we figure out, talk about being hurt, take a break to give you one of our sponsors, Get More Graphics. Hey guys, this break is brought to you by Get More Graphics. They take care of all our vinyl banners, stickers, car magnets. They do our embroidery, special occasions, birthdays, you name it. They got what you need, man. Just click the link below. I say click the link. That's that Doja. Check out the link below, and go holler at them, man. They'll take good care of you. Continue watching the show, and just remember, if it ain't messy,
It ain't me.
Um, Shout out to Get More Graphics, man. Greatly appreciate you, family. But uh, we say, we want to raise our children better than uh better than when we were raised, so to speak. We try to fix past problems. But often we end up raising them because most of the time we're not healed from a particular situation. Um, because let's be honest, when you get to the root of I want to do better than how I was done when I was raised, that means you feel like there was a problem. You felt like there was a level of inadequacy, and if you feel like there was a level of inadequacy from your teacher, that teacher being your parents, that means you have a finger that you want to point. That finger, that pointing blame, and when you're pointing blame to people's, more especially your parents or a boss figure, but we're gonna stick to the context. Your parents, they tend to take high offense of you blaming them for what you feel they could have done better. In most situations, you'll hear, even in the managerial aspect or parental aspect, I'm only leading you as best as I was taught. I'm only giving you, what I know to the best of my ability, so that you'll be able to make it. And there's levels to making it. There's surviving and there's thriving. So I think a lot of parents, which I think is a great base foundation, to teach survival. In life, I feel like you have to learn how to survive, and then you have to learn how to live. There's pros and cons depending on what lifestyle you were born into. But if you don't know how to, if you live and you're always living life, when you have to take a knee in life and take a pause, or you going through a bad situation, if you don't know how to survive, you won't be able to live again. So there's balance to this context of things that we've been taught and handed down as far as information of living life. But when we're taught, and as far as the aspect of how we raise our kids, and raising them from a hurt aspect versus a healed perspective, because I think I'm gonna try to go out and then come back in. If people are really um truly healed from situations, then life is more inclusive. And I hope that's a fair statement to say. Life is more inclusive when we feel, um, if not unaffected, we feel that we've overcome some things. So you either feel unaffected or you overcome some things that you were prior affected by. And when those burdens and weights are lifted, again, you begin to open yourself up, not only to your family but to the public, so degree to people, society. So you begin to be more inclusive. You begin to be more sharing with information, and more of yourself. So I think, excuse me, when we're more free in our environments, and healed, that's how we're able to start to be able to be an asset to people, and help them through their hurt. But when you're not truly healed over something, we continue to kick, malice, and sometimes intentionally and unintentionally. I did bring up one example that I wanted to share, and I know you guys saw, it's courtesy of a baller alert. But you saw the guy. This is the guy who went ahead and you know, went to Disneyland and did himself off. He left this long message on his social media platform, and after he got done announcing, what he was going to do, um, he then went ahead and committed to actually doing just that, and took his own life. And if you saw briefly in the notifications, he explained that him and his wife were in a domestic situation. She ended up calling the police. There was no physical altercation. Voices were raised, um, to whatever point she felt like she needed to call the police and bring the police in the situation. That particular situation ended up, causing him to go through some highly stressful things in his life sooner than later. His job suspended him. His people his close network of people had basically, you know, shunned him, and they label him as a woman beater, whatever the case may be, and he went through such scrutiny at such a fast rate that he felt he couldn't handle it, and he ended up taking his own life. Um, so again, hurt people. They were going through whatever situation that they were able to go through in a hurt fashion. But I think when we've accessed, as I've been reading, and actually been healed over things, when certain arguments or heated perspectives come up, we're able to utilize tools that help us diffuse the situation and actively work through the situation. Now that isn't necessary when you're healing and people there's tension, and when you're going through things that everything's going to be hunky dory at the end of any particular conversation. And I was reading about that in this book as well. Facial expressions put off so much, and it's almost like a guess who game, because the people who you're transmitting that to and receive those facial expressions, if they're not right to, if your expressions don't match up to what they think your expressions equivocate to, then they begin to feel disheartened. They begin to pull away and stuff like that, and it makes them feel less. It's a whole psychological thing that our energy and frequency gives off to people in such a small amount of time. But when you're harboring like levels of anger and from things in life that you haven't been healed from, and you still feel hurt, a lot of normal things that you go through um, could be very devastating to people depending on what you're talking about. But this book broke it down in a professional manner, which I definitely appreciated. And sometimes he went to some personal matters as far as his home situation and with his father and things like that as a child growing up. But at the same time, I was able to apply it to situations with me and my old lady, and then um, um, overall in life. But to be able to home in on my wife and my mother and my daughters, because at the end of the day, we all as men and women in a family have challenging jobs, more so when you decide to God decides to promote you in life to be a husband or a wife. um, that's a load of different load of responsibilities, that and positions and shoes that we have to walk in at any given moment. So to be able to apply, and we'll relearn certain tools and be able to apply that. It's normally the best way to transpire those. I mean, to be able to digest those things and utilize those tools, is when you're not so much in a hurt state, and you have to be able to work through that hurt. That man wasn't able to work through his hurt with his family, and I've been through domestic situations, and it does leave such a disdain on the offender and offendee, if that's the right word. If the kids are around, it leaves such a heavy disdain. So psychologically, no matter, I do understand the mindset. No matter if you make it up. If you make up with your the one you've offended, or cause physical or mental pain to, there's still that heavy weight of embarrassment of that you has gotten so much out of character. People that left a memory on a negative memory about you to people. Um, but they never got they never got to the point to where they could be, either one of them were healed. The wife, she was embarrassed. She was embarrassed, from the context I was reading anyway. He said, she didn't think it would go that far. She didn't think that, the police would, handle him the way he did. She didn't know that the repercussions he would get from his job. He was suspended, from his job without pay, until, the case was resolved. And so a man who can't go to his work to earn money, that deals a heavy blow with you already as far as the man side. And more so in that situation where there was no physical altercation. There was never, as far as his description, he never, as far as what we can interpret, put her in a physically compromising position. They just got to yelling back and forth, and she decided to call the police. So even after that reaction of her cause, I don't want to, try to make it sound like I'm picking the man's side or the woman's side, but as far as, if I were to be in her mindset, like, damn, I really fucked up, like I went too far, or, we do things in the spur of the moment, and you just don't, and damn, I got my husband fired. So even though that was a quick situation, we couldn't even communicate enough to calm it down. Now I can't even talk to him right now to be like, babe, I'm sorry, but he ain't really hearing what you saying because he can't work and pay for the house no more. So now you finna be looking at him like, what we gonna do? And he probably like, bitch. And you probably like, well, fuck you too. You know what I mean? So he decided to go ahead and write him a goddamn note and climb to the top of the damn Disney Magical Kingdom in his life. And that was all because um, I feel that he was still hurt for some situations that he wasn't able to communicate with his wife, and his wife was hurt for a situation she couldn't communicate with her husband. And then in most of those times where there's combustion and combustion, goddamn, that's a super atom bomb that transpires. That happens at home. That happens in our workplace. That happens with our children. And back to my original example. This New Year's resolution that we have coming up, to be this new person, to lose this weight, to be, a better this and a better that. If you truly aren't healed from your hurt, and whatever spectrum that is, I don't feel like you'll accomplish those goals. I'm gonna say you/we. I don't feel like we'll effectively accomplish the goals that we want to accomplish. I don't feel like that we'll be as effective in our mission and our vision that we feel like our Creator has given us. If you're that kind of person, if we're harboring on to hurt, um, there's there's hurt going on in America right now with the way the political game is being played, and overall the political game has pretty much been the same: control the minds and control the money. And what's the biggest way to control minds? You do it through fear. You do it through fear, financial fear, spiritual fear, and physical fear. Spiritual fear. You better do this and do this, or you're gonna go to hell, and you need to pay this and donate this, or your soul is gonna be damned to hell. You got to do this to get this job. If you don't, you don't pay your taxes and you don't do this, you're not an American. You're not a real citizen. Well, how I do that? And I'm getting paid on and on and on and on. The system, in my strong opinion, is set up for really only the strong, based off of fear. Only the strong survive. It's because I think a lot of things are just built out of a sense of fear. If I can't be at this level of success, that gives me fear and anxiety, and I feel like I'm less worthy of a person, of a human being. If I don't, buy these things for my kids, I feel like, I'm less than a father. I feel like I'm less than a mother, a parent. For if I don't perform this well in my job, I feel like, so there's certain levels of things that's been built in this world to make us feel less than. And certain people feel like that's great because it pushes you to the next level, whatever that level is. But if the level is to feel like you're better than someone else, you've arrived, you've made it, and you're superior, I think that's where we get lost in the sauce. And still recreate the same cycle of being hurt, essentially, and not really healed. If America was more of a healed space, unfortunately, you see. Shootings still going on at schools. Kids are being hurt. And for conversational purposes, evidently there's a society of people and a program and an entity of people who are hurt. That's why there are a lot of black and brown people still being, executed on the streets by lawfully employed people. If whatever these priests, there's more and more exposés that come out on these Catholic priests about these things that's going on, like about these molestations, and it's sickening. It creates disposition. It creates anger. It creates a world of complete fear and anger. And so when people say this world is mental, it's a mental health battle. Like there's shit that comes along every day, day by day by day by day. But if you're not in a space to where you can effectively, start to even attempt to help yourself, you're not going to be able to help other people. So you're still just going to be a hurt person, and your impact is going to be more hurtful than helpful to people. And the better we are to realize that we're hurting more than helping, it puts everybody around us in a better position, because again, that we're energy and we gravitate. We gravitate towards certain things when we're going through shit, and people gravitate towards us when we're going through shit. You know what I mean? Do you really want to be the leader, of your gang of people that gravitate to you being an asshole, a foul speaker, a over talker, no sympathy, empathy, no nothing, no consideration of another person? Or do you want to be the leader of a gang of people who feel good, who feel successful, who feel inspired, who feel motivated? Do you want to be the leader of that? Do you want to be the center of that nucleus of people? And I think that's a daily challenge, day by day by day, on, who you want to be and who you wants to be affects the people around you. If you want to be an asshole and wake up being an asshole, guess what? You're gonna invite more assholes, and you're gonna go to work and start snapping on people, and goddamn, you know, end up written up in your boss's office or something like that, because you decide you want to be an asshole and didn't know how to bring it in when somebody told you, hey, I think you're a little bit off today. Hey, can I pull you to the side? Something going on? No, I'm fine. Well, you don't look fine, you know. So we always have to. I think, and as a parent, I think it makes the mindfulness more and more and more for me to try to be more of a healed person to help someone else through the hurt, because our kids go through a lot on a daily basis. Again, I was about to tell you guys, I saw a TikTok. My wife showed me a TikTok. I believe it might have been one of her colleagues that she grew up with or went to school with. But there was a situation in Chesterfield County, Virginia, where she said there was a confrontation in the gym. The young lady wanted to fight her daughter. She didn't know her. She kept propositioning her daughter, trying to, get her initiate the fight with her. Her daughter wouldn't buy into it. The girl, for some reason, decided to go, and I'll share with you guys a TikTok on one of my other lives, just to go ahead and lock it in for you. But she went ahead and then went and got one of these teachers, I guess, who the girl knew, who was intimidating the young lady's daughter, and brought the teacher, I guess, to witness this level of instigation, and then try to flip it on the young lady who was being attacked verbally at the time. So then the young lady tried to get up and leave, and basically the teacher, that the other young lady who was trying to fight the girl, started getting in this young lady's face and talking loud, aggressively, and inadvertently spitting in her face, and putting her in a very compromised position. So the girl was able to get away, get up out the gym. The teacher said, "Get this bitch up out of here before I fuck her up," all kinds of nasty stuff. The girl, called her mom, and her mom was just heartbroken. She was like, it's bad enough with the shootings going on. It's bad enough with the child shootings, the murders going on with the police. She said, now I got to worry about teachers. And the thing about these teachers nowadays, the teachers are my age now. The teachers are, 30s and 40s and 50s. They ain't no 70s and 70-year-old and 80-year-old teachers no more. You know what I mean? They're pretty much, if you're a parent, between 35 and 45, these are the teachers in the schools today. These are the people, the 80s babies, the 70s and 80s babies that have come to maturity and teaching, and have some tenure in life in teaching our kids. And so if we want to talk about the mental health problem, if you know, as they say now, hashtag if you know, like that's what's going on. You got 30, 40, and 50-year-old people, early 50s, who are not so, 1960s and 1950s with their technique. They lashing back out too. I'm not saying promoting it by far, because I wish a motherfucker would touch my kid, get up in my kid's face. But as far as the type of energy, you hear what I just said and how quick I turned on. Like this is the energy of some of these young, if you will, people that are teaching and over our kids, because I'm sure at a small point, not condoning any of it, but at a small point, I'm sure some of these teachers feel like I'm not gonna be the teacher that's gonna be ran over by these young kids in this generation. I'm not gonna be the teacher that's gonna be compromised and bullied. I'm not gonna be the teacher who I'm gonna allow this child to instill fear inside of me. So maybe some of those teachers are feeling like, I'm a parent, I'm a person, I'm an adult. I'm not going to let you get one up on me and intimidate on some lean on me, Mr. Joe Clark type shit. And like, I'm going to spark off. Like, hey, you want to fight? Whatever they got going on, or the teachers that smacking the kids, or, whatever they doing. Not condoning any. I'm just saying, as far as the one that properly handled the situation, as far as, maybe being a little bit aggressive in their tone with their voice inflection, I'll say it that way, and letting a kid know that, hey, I will not be intimidated by you. So I can understand that perspective. I'm not saying it's right, because again, I wish the motherfucker would, goddamn, but at the same time, like, how most parents say, but at this point, I know my kids, so you really gonna have to show me some video that my kid totally enacted and went across our family values and community principles to make you put them in a situation where you felt threatened by my child. That ain't gonna fly with me. You know what I mean? That there's just certain things that's not up for discussion. That's not up for discussion in my house. But I'm definitely not the parent that's gonna be like automatically. If my child was bad, and I can see if we was in the counselor's office going back and forth, but that's not the case all the time. A lot of these teachers may or may not feel like, hey, again, I'm 30-some years old. You're not finna scare me. But again, evidently, if you do have that kind of retaliation, or if you do have that kind of rebuttal when you feel like you're in that situation, those responses are coming out of hurt, because no one automatically says when they see a child in disarray, hey, I'm gonna fuck you up. You know what I'm saying? No adult says that to a child. They're coming from a space to where they feel psychologically, I won't be compromised, you won't intimidate me, and like not realizing you're talking to a child. You know what I mean? Like, okay, let's scale this situation down. Let's go ahead and try to call. Unless this child, again, unless you're in a physical situation, you know what I mean? Which is, you got to watch these kids these days. But you can't. People are killing people over words, just mere words these days. You know what I mean? Everything's classified under bullying now and things, but hurt people are hurting people so bad with a few words these days, and antagonizing texts and antagonizing, stalking mechanisms on social media, to where they have people with such an up in arms to either they want to kill themselves, or they start, somehow pulling up on them and shooting them up. You know what I mean? Girl was bullied. You saw at the College of Virginia, Virginia State, the young football player. He went and shot killed three, shot 5 or 6 people. Come to find out he was being bullied. Hurt people. Another prime example. He felt he didn't have normally when someone explodes like that, they've shut down. They feel like there's no one they can speak to. There's no one that can hear them. There's no one that can see them. There's no one that can understand their pain. They've tried everything. There's no other way out. And before I die, if they don't kill themselves first, they go on a killing spree and mop up and wipe everybody off the fucking map. That's what's going on today and age by hurt people. So when we come to this New Year's resolution or revelation, saying that we want to be a better this and do a better that, I don't think we'll truly accomplish those goals unless you kind of heal from the past things you claim you take, the skin you claim you taking off, if you really haven't healed. You're not going to get healed from everything at the same time at one big time in life. That's just not going to happen. But I think the little things pile up to big things, and once those little weights start coming off, I think that helps to lighten up and open you up to some bigger things that you're not as afraid and fearful of that you couldn't let go because we don't want our guard to be um we don't want to be caught off guard. We don't want our guard to be down. Um, and whatever capacity to where we feel so vulnerable that we're defenseless to whatever's coming our way, whether it be in your own personal relationship or your business relationships, because business relationships are kissing cousin to personal relationships because there's a certain dance that you have to perform on a daily basis to keep your business relationships afloat properly. Um, but with that being said, man, shout out to King Pope Kennels, man.
For another
Appreciate you for
brief
your
break,
dope
this is
stat
brought to you by
props.
King Pope Kennels. King Pope Kennels, they create, produce badass American bullies, and they also fabricate custom stacking boxes and whelping boxes for you guys. They make it personal, easy, quick, and efficient to use and adjust. It doesn't pull out. You adjust the fly nuts on the side and slide it back. Stack your dog up. You know the law, stack up or shut up, man. Appreciate you guys. Continue watching the show, and always remember, if it ain't messy, it ain't me.
Um, yeah. Um, I think again, 2023 is coming up, and we profess that we want to be new, but you can't be new. You can't be renewed without actually letting go of the old. You have to physically, mentally and spiritually let go. Um, it's a daily. It's a daily. It's a what they say in rehab. How you feeling? One day at a time. You know, I'm taking it one day at a time, and that's all we can really do in life because shit, you're not. What they say, you're not promised tomorrow. So you gotta take your life one day at a time. But I assure you, the time gets a little easier. The steps get a little bit lighter. Get a little bit lighter. Um, when you let go past hurts. Um, I'm definitely a prime candidate, of that philosophy and that or that truth. I've been labeled an angry person, you know, um, for many a years. Believe it or not, Gemma, you, yeah, me. Uh, um, but I'm able to see, from my personal life to my business life through my military life, able to see. I'm able to see through some things now. I'm able to see past some things. It wasn't easy, and that's the most difficult thing. I think the most difficult thing in life, like to where you have to have some kind of tolerance for people and humanity, because everybody doesn't get it at the same time. In the most perfect, fucking tranquil world, everybody would get it at the same time and realize, hey, we don't have to be this angry. Hey, we don't have to. There is no class. We're all the same. We're all really struggling. We're all trying to find a job that we love, not a job that just makes money to get, to separate us from our people, to divide us from our people, but a job that just really makes us happy and where we could provide for ourselves and our family and live and die as we see fit, you know. But, that is it'd be beautiful if it worked out like that. But it doesn't. So you may get it this week and be like, man, I was an asshole. But while you get it this week and made a declaration that you're an asshole, you probably done affected negatively fucking 300 people by now. You know what I mean? So you didn't help fuel other people's fire being fucked up because you didn't realize you had bad energy at that time. So you were just basically scorching the earth. And then I say again, hurt people, and heal people help through the hurt. But once you heal, a big no is to forget that you were hurt and hurt people. That's something that we really need to remember, before we leave for the evening. Once you get healed and relieved of certain stresses and woes and past pains and convictions that gave you distractions on your mission in life, please don't get on your pompous high and mighty shit. I think that's where we fail, and that's a big disconnect as well. The people who do get it and figure it out act like some people act like they've never been through it, and they just rain fire and brimstone on everybody else, acting like they never came up as a pup. You know, healed people are supposed to help through the hurt if you're truly healed. Because if you're truly healed, you're not trying to prove a point to anybody. And again, it's just mindfulness. These things are levels, they're information to be digested, but it's just to add mental notes to when you're going through things, because we slip up, we go through things, and we get overwhelmed on our day. It's a day by day. I take it one day at a time. You know what I mean? But it's different mental notes to pull from, little cheat codes when you're going, like having little sticky notes all around the house. It's little sticky notes in your brain. Ah, chill, breathe. It's all in milliseconds. Yeah, so I was, you know what I mean? And take a different approach. Take a quick breath, take a different approach, and work through situations. But the day you say, oh, you look down on somebody for going through some shit that you done made it through, that's when we lose. We're not helping them. We're not motivating that person. We're not inspiring that person. We got our nose up to them, and we're helping digging them an early grave. We're adding more hurt fuel to their fire, and that's not what we're here for in life. There's too many things out there that hurt us knowingly and unknowingly. I started out the conversation with a conversation that me and my mother had about things that she knew and didn't know about, how I was affected negatively in my life, and some things that left a heavy disdain on how I operated, from a child at 5, 6 years old up until a man at 42 years old to this day. Um, you know, um, so, I challenge the people, um, you know, with every breath. It's all about me. Motivation, inspiration, innovation. Motivate, you spark, inspire to get active, innovate, active with change. I summarized that. I got a little summary now. But when you're not hurt, we communicate better. When we communicate better, uh, we put better fuel into people around us. So my power three is always going to be the same. Take care of yourself first, your family, if you're afforded a family, your family second, um, and your community third. If you do that to the best you can, with a good heart, and working through past hurts, standing on new healings, and reaching those people, man, God, our Creator, has a way of putting jet fuel, NOS injections in your gas tank to clearing the way to help us reach our destination a little bit faster and a little bit stronger, with a lot of less effort to us. With a lot of less effort to us, because you know human will is something else, man. But if your psyche, your mind, and your spiritual, balance, your nam ya renge kill is jacked up, man, it makes you seem like you stuck in a motherfucking, like you living in what's that, quicksand on a daily basis, and you just slowly sinking and sinking. And every day you wake up, it's not like you're standing on solid ground. Your neck, when you wake up, it feel like your neck is just above the quicksand every day, and it's just sinking, and you feel like you're about to damn near die every day. That's not the energy we want to dispel on people. We don't want to make people's lives that difficult. When people cry out to the politicians and things like that, they cry out to help. They say the politicians are here for the people. We elect and vote these people into office because they represent different tiers of the government and voices of the people, to be able to give relief to people so they might have a better life while they're here on this earth. It sounds good, but it doesn't necessarily happen that way, because those politicians, have their own agendas. And if they didn't have one, they definitely assume new agendas once they get there, because they're influenced by other hurt people who say we need to keep class separation. They scream equality, but people scream class separation. Not to get sidetracked. Anyway, um, um, the we are ambassadors here, and And a lot of us have been in a mentality, of why are we here? I didn't ask to be born here. And a lot of us were born into survival situations versus a living situation. Um, but we're here, and while we're here, it's our duty. I think it's our duty to try to put smiles on people's face in the best way, not to be used and abused by people, but to truly motivate and inspire people to smile, because there's so much in this world going on to put frowns on people's face. There's so much in this world going on to put the angry face and to make people, just feel downtrodden and disheartened. Um, but I think we give hope to people when we show I can talk to you and I can understand you in such a way to where um, I won't let your problem hurt me, and then my words, my sharing, my positive words that should motivate you, inspire you, showing that I relate to your situation, I understand you, and that there's hope in your situation without making you feel like a piece of shit and disrespected. Now that's a hard line, because what the good book did the good book, the power of the others did also show me that again. We know this. No matter how soft and how thoughtful you are, certain truths that come out are not going to be taken well. They're not going to be taken well. And again, that's left up to God, and how you transmitted that information, how that person received it. Sometimes when you need to step away from it and let that thing lie, you let it lie where it is and let God work out the timing, because you can't rush every situation. You can't, no matter what truths were spoken and received, you can't rush a person's healing. That's definitely a tricky situation when you're in a relationship. You know what I mean? When there you felt you were wrong by the person you're in a relationship with, and you know um, you finally had a conversation that needed to be had, it, but there's still a thick muck that has to be worked through to get back to this stage right here. Um, but those aren't that's not hurt people, that's healing people, um, helping through the hurt. And it's a beautiful thing when we can do that as a people, as a society, but more especially on the tighter scale, when we can do that as a family from a house to house situation, because we need more healing. Our children out there today, um, they need as many healing tools as they can get, because when they go out in this world, the way this world is set up today, man, um, they have turned up the volume and magnified hurt. They have turned up the volume and magnified distractions to the utmost. And we're trying to teach our kids now on a daily basis, more and more every day. Hey, what do you want to do? What are you thinking? What's going on? What's your likes and dislikes? Because we want to be able to help them work through these emotions, identify these different emotions and feelings, so that they may be able to um, process their potential hurts, for us to help them get to a level of understanding, and work through those situations, so that they may be better, for themselves and for their family, which is, as far as our kids, is us. I need my kids. My kids. What the big companies say, they need the people out there that's got their ear to the streets. Like my kids, they're in school. They hear everything that's going on, unfiltered, whether right, wrong, or indifferent. You know what I'm saying? So that level of trust and communication needs to be there. So I don't definitely want to put my kids in a situation to where they feel I've hurt them or hurt them in such a way to where we can't communicate and build as a family unit. My wife included. I don't want to be in a situation, where she has things from a woman's perspective, a maternal perspective, a business perspective, given her life experiences. Her life experiences has brought her up to a place to where she's able to give things that only she can give from her perspective. And, I want to be able to be open to receive that, and open, and have myself in such a way to where I can articulate, myself to her as well. Um, these are tools that we need but we choose not to. We choose to be distracted by this thing called success. We choose to be distracted by um I won't say accomplishments because we all need goals, and goals, when you complete your goal, you accomplish something. So those are your accomplishments. But the rat race of feeling successful in life and the things you go through because you're not successful, I think that's where abuse and the bad part of mental health problems come from. Drug abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, molestations, rapes, murders, tortures, things of that nature come into play when um, there's an unsurmountable amount of hurt there, and you know when to at least get it out you before you end up passing on your pain, your toxic pain, to people. And as we know, hurt people, molested people tend to start molesting more people, rape people, have some dark shit to where they cut themselves, be in a depressed manner, hang around people with dark shit, getting the gothic shit, do drugs, all kinds of shit. These things come out of being hurt. Weapons of mass destruction used because our government bodies are hurt and feel like there's no other resolution. And they feel like, hey, we want to go ahead and use these mechanisms to destroy these other government entities. We want to hurt. We don't want to diffuse. We can't diffuse. We want to hurt. That's not where we want to be in. We want to get access to tools that's going to help us um, resolve the three levels: one, ourself, our family, and our community. We have to be on an individual basis, a day by day basis, grabbing tools and surrounding ourselves with people that's going to help us through the hurt in a productive way. And that don't mean in a drug way. That don't mean in a sexual way. You know what I mean? That means with yourself, with your wits about you, and your mind and body governed accordingly. You handle your responsibilities, your day to day responsibilities, but utilizing the tools you need to be more effective in your roles to whatever those responsibilities are. Getting the tools so you can be more effective in your daily roles and responsibility as a parent, as a wife, as a mother, as a husband, as an uncle, as whatever you are, as an employee, a supervisor, level 1, level 3 director. It's about getting the correct tools to be able to heal through things and to be able to gain more understanding, positive understanding, to be able to gain positive understanding to get through. Some of us are born surviving, some of us are born living. But if you're born into a surviving situation or find yourself in survival mode, at least make it worthwhile. Don't wallow and lash out. Find the tools that you need to help get you through to the next level. Because I assure you, there's somebody around the corner who's looking for motivation and inspiration to somebody who's gone through something they're going through or went through something they went and successfully got through without fucking everybody over. Because everybody doesn't want to fuck everybody over when they're hurt. And those are the people who are doing it intentionally. Everybody doesn't want to go out there and just hurt people, but sometimes you do it, inadvertently without knowing because you're just in such a funk and you just look up and it's just destruction. You're like, damn, I can't believe I did all this. I can't believe I just did all this because I was hurt. Little old me did all this destruction because I was hurt. But if God allows you to make through it or get through that situation, and has actually gave you the tools and the people surroundings for you to heal, to start to heal and then get through a full, healing process, man. There's people out there that need your help. They need your help desperately. Your kids need your help. Your nieces and your nephews need your help. Your friends who are out there that you influence on a daily basis, that they look at you, they like, man, outside looking in, man, I see what you're doing. I see your house. I see, or I see you involved, with your kids more than I'm involved with my kids. Man, I see how you and your boyfriend interact, man. I wish I had that with that, my relationship. What's your guys' secret, man? I see how you interact with your mother and your father, man. That is great. I wish I had that. Like, what's your secret? What I mean? Those are the people that we want to be around to get through things versus, goddamn, yeah, man, fuck you, fuck your mama. And like, oh, girl, yeah, let's go. Oh, like, what is that doing for us? What is that doing for? That energy does nothing. We messy, we not sloppy. That energy does nothing. So you wanna be able to be in a state to where you're used. And again, that's tricky because We want to pull away. We want to pull away, but you got to remember to fight. You got to remember to push through because it's about you, your family, and your community. There's people, suicide is real. People say, why do people commit suicide? That's to each their own to reason why they feel like they need to punch out their clock early. But our job, until you decide to make that personal decision for yourself, um, is to find tools and talk, be able to talk and work through things, and hopefully find tools that'll um, help you get out of the situation that you're in. Whether we're talking about business, whether we're talking about spirituality, or we're talking about mental health, as a whole. Because we cover all those gamuts on If It Ain't Messy, It Ain't Me. Initially, my this nucleus started from my love of dogs, and a dog therapy situation. As you guys know, the dogs, the American Bully breed that I'm heavily involved with, um, gave me a type of therapy, because again, dogs don't talk back, at the end of the day, so it allows you to interact with something that's living, thriving, and somehow, whatever that is, whether it be golf dogs or whatever your thing is, bowling, um, the dogs were able to help me to start just to work through things for whatever reason, and it's been level after level of learning, rediscovering old things, learning new things about myself, and really trying to get a grasp on it to be a better person. In masonry they say it take a good man to be a better man. So I'm definitely always working on trying to be a better man. Some days it doesn't look like it more than others, but you know, I'm me, and I appreciate my wife and my family for dealing with my kind of energy. You know, I'm not an easy walk in the park, by far, man. Um, but yeah, hurt people, and heal people, help through the hurt, man. So, um, again, you guys check out The Power of the Other, by Dr. Henry Cloud. It's a great book, man, a great read. It has some great tools in it. I'm just about to start another book, called You're a Badass, because it's about really, just really trying to get out them dark spots, man. Get out them dark spots, and them dark spots are big, huge distractions. When you feeling fucked up in your head, it's a huge distraction from your simple mission. If our mission in the life, I say this often, were to get from one side of the street to the other, the struggle of life is a billion fucking cars. Like when you're born, you see you can't walk yet, and you're just a baby, and it's right across the street. You walk from one corner to the next. It's a clear street, but you can't even walk yet. The moment God gives you the ability to walk, crawl, and walk, there's fucking 1,000 cars come across the street. So you gotta figure out how to run across this bitch without getting hit, which is impossible. So you gonna bump off some roofs and shit. You gonna it's all that's how I feel life is, man. So you know, I think we're all here to help each other get across the street. You know what I mean? I think they said why how the chicken cross the road. Damn it, we were all chickens, and we're trying to help each other get across the street and lay some fucking eggs. Hopefully, you know. Um, I'm thankful of this platform. I'm thankful of the feedback. I'm thankful of the journey. I'm thankful of my family, friends, and colleagues. And more thankful of my Creator for giving me the breath that I have each day to be able to think and talk and just work out my own issues with you guys. So stay sharp, stay focused, stay prayed up, man, and remember on a daily basis, if nothing else, if it ain't messy,